Hermit dates 25. 1. And I saw a snake named Leviticus, and his skin was grey and of hard bony growth. And he had done horrible things. He had come from the sea to deceive the saints and to terrorize them for a long time. 2. And many became bitter to God, and others began to call God for help. But the Lord kept his gates closed. 4. And Leviticus carried a holy sword which he had stolen from the temple of the Lord. 4. But an angel of the Lord came floating from heaven, to hit the snake and throw it in a nearby pit. 5. And she closed the pit above the head of the snake, and brought the key to a most holy temple. 6. And Leviticus began to call loud, and his sound was so hard, that he could still deceive many saints. 7. But those who kept serving the Lord he terrified in the night. 8. After a while the Lord sent a fire to the pit, and called the pit the second Gehenna. Now why is the book of Leviticus such a criminal book? I will show you. Leviticus 25 verse 44 to 46. However, you may purchase male or female slaves from among the foreigners who live among you. You may also purchase the children of such resident foreigners, including those who have been born in your land. You may treat them as your property, passing them on to your children as a permanent inheritance. You may treat your slaves like this, but the people of Israel, your relatives, must never be treated this way. Now Exodus 21 verse 7 to 11, when a man sells his daughter as a slave, she will not be freed at the end of 6 years as the men are. If she does not please the man who bought her, he may allow her to be bought back again. But he is not allowed to sell her to foreigners, since he is the one who broke the contract with her. And if the slave girl's owner arranges for her to marry his son, he may no longer treat her as a slave girl, but he must treat her as his daughter. If he himself marries her and then takes another wife, he may not reduce her food or clothing or fail to sleep with her as his wife. If he fails in any of these 3 ways, she may leave as a free woman without making any payment. So we see here that the first Bible not only supports slavery but even sex-slavery. That is a huge crime. There are many more verses supporting slavery and sex-slavery in the first Bible. This is why the second Bible comes against it. Often when the children of the first Bible God had conquered cities, they were allowed to make wives of the captured women. The first Bible is of a very low moral level. That is why we are happy to have the second Bible, to set us free from any form of slavery. Now Exodus 21 verse 2 to 6. If you buy a Hebrew slave, he is to serve for only 6 years. Set him free in the 7th year, and he will owe you nothing for his freedom. If he was single when he became your slave and then married afterward, only he will go free in the 7th year. But if he was married before he became a slave, then his wife will be freed with him. If his master gave him a wife while he was a slave, and they had sons or daughters, then the man will be free in the 7th year, but his wife and children will still belong to his master. But the slave may plainly declare, I love my master, my wife, and my children. I would rather not go free. If he does this, his master must present him before God. Then his master must take him to the door and publicly pierce his ear with an awl. After that, the slave will belong to his master forever. We see here that a slave freed in the 7th year can only have his wife and children back if he becomes a slave for his whole life. That's cruel, isn't it? Now Deuteronomy 22 verse 28 to 29. If a man is caught in the act of raping a young woman who is not engaged, he must pay 50 pieces of silver to her father. Then he must marry the young woman because he violated her, and he will never be allowed to divorce her. So here we see that by rape and paying 50 pieces of silver, people can enslave a woman to marriage, another text endorsing sex-slavery. Hermit dates 25 verse 8 says, And I saw another beast coming out of the sea like a panther, and he was called Deuteronomium. And he had devoured many holy things, and went out to deceive the children. And he gave them terrors in the night. And the Lord spoke, It is time now to clear my word. And an angel rose up from the heavens to hit the panther and his followers with the ban. And the Lord then, who is spirit, says this, much blood guilt sticks to this beast, and he sent the beast to the second Gehenna, where the beast got torn by wild lambs. And the dread of these predators was so great, that the heavens and the earth trembled. And the Lord poured out a bowl full of blood, to clear the word. And he established apostles to bring the cleared word to the nations of the earth. Till so far, we see here that the second Bible will overcome and deal with these things. Stay tuned.